Hi guys, Jason from JVA Carpy Adventures here, and this week I'm going to show you how to make something very similar to Korda Goo. This one will also give off a green plume like theirs does, and the fantastic thing about this is you can actually make it to any sort of flavouring, any sort of colouring you like. Now this one I'm going to kind of based loosely on my krill, because at the minute I've been trying to develop my krill boilies. So this one is mainly krill. So I'm just going to go through all the ingredients first and what you will and won't need. So essentially you're going to need a container, preferably something that you've got a takeaway in and it's okay to throw away afterwards, because it's more than likely going to get coloured. The most important item you need is going to be this stuff, and this is vegetable glycerin. Not sure if that's going to focus properly on there, it's probably not. So this stuff's vegetable glycerin. This is a 1 litre bottle, guys, and I think that cost me something like £8 off of Amazon to get like delivered the next day sort of thing. So that 1 litre bottle will make 10 of these 100ml containers. So all I've done is decanted that into this roughly, helps me make sure my measurement's good. So that's mostly full, not all the way full, but mostly full. You're going to need some colouring. This is just one from the local supermarket. I've gone for yellow. You're going to need some flavourings. Mine are John Baker flavourings, so they don't necessarily need as much as you might do if you're going to use sort of flavourings that aren't quite as good quality. So if you're going to use flavourings like these guys, or maybe essence that you buy in a supermarket, you know, you might buy orange essence or vanilla essence or stuff like that. In total, to make 100ml, you're probably going to want about between 15 and 30ml. Play around with it and see what you guys think. But I won't be using these today. I am going to use my John Baker ones because I want the krill flavouring that I want. A bit of corn flour to thicken it up. And then this stuff, and this is what will give you the plume, the green plume that you've got there. And this is Fluorescein. And you don't need much of this, guys. Probably about, for 100ml, probably about half a teaspoon. So that's enough. So I'm going to get on and kind of first start by just pouring my 100ml worth of glycerin in there. So now I've got the glycerin in, I'm just going to add some basic food colouring available from all good supermarkets, and I'm just going to put literally about 2 capfuls, not loads, but about 2 capfuls. When you've put your colouring in, just give it all a good stir. Won't bore you with this. Alright guys, so I'm actually happy with that colour because I know it's going to get darker later on. So the next thing you want to do is add your flavourings in. Now, as I was saying earlier, if you're using the cheaper flavourings, then you want about 10 to 15ml per 100ml of that. But I'm using John Baker flavourings and they're particularly strong. So I'm going to probably put 2mm of each, I think, guys. These are the syringes I use when I'm doing the boilies, so get about 2ml. Actually, do you know what? I think I'm going to be generous. I'm going to go for 3ml. There we go. So 3ml of that. Now, with regards to the flavourings, guys, it's literally whatever you can think you want to do, you can do. You know, you can do off the supermarket flavourings, or you can buy flavourings to match your favourite bait. So I'm actually going to go quite strong actually, guys. I'm going to go 3ml of each, which in John Baker flavourings, that really is a lot. And I'll be honest, you'll be grateful you can't smell it because it's not the best smelling thing right now. Once you've got the flavourings in, you've got your colouring in, again, give it a really good stir, guys. Get that flavouring all the way around. Get it moving everywhere. Now, oh yeah, this is really smelling now, guys. Really, really smelling. So now comes the bit where we want to add that green little plume to it, really, that colour. I mean, this isn't the thinnest glycerin, to be fair, guys, so that's not a terrible consistency, but let's give it that little green plume that a lot of the Korda Goo have. So for this 100 mils, I'm going to get my Fluorescein, and I'm only going to use a half a teaspoon, so not a lot. I have these measuring spoons that I use when I'm making bait, so I know a level one of those is going to be enough. So that's it, that's all I'm going to put in there. That again, that'll go in the sink. Make sure this isn't the sort of thing you leave around, so it's a bag within a bag. Now this is going to take a really good mixing in, guys, so I'm not going to bore you to death with that. I'm going to be mixing and I'll come back to you when it's all done. Alright guys, so now as you can see, it's really taken on a lot of that greenness, which is why I wasn't quite worried about the colour earlier. But now it's still, I mean, it's not a bad consistency, to be fair. It's not bad, but I'd want to thicken that up a little. So for thickening it up, this is where we put corn flour in. I suggest you only put a little bit at a time, give it a good stir till you get it at the consistency you're after. Again, corn flour is readily available in all supermarkets, guys, so none of this is stuff that's hard to get hold of. It's all very easy to get hold of. So as you can see, I haven't put a lot in, but just give it a good stir. I've mixed in one batch of corn flour and I'm now mixing in another, just because I want it a little bit thicker. I'm not going to bore you with me mixing it in, but one of the things I do want to say is you do need to make sure that you really mix in the corn flour well, guys. Don't leave it lumpy or anything. Make sure you're kind of smashing down every bit there and that you give it a really good mix. It is going to take you a good 5 minutes to mix it properly, but be prepared for that, guys. And as you can see now, it's kind of lost that green and now gone to a sort of reddish colour, all normal. I'm finally sort of happy with it, but that has taken me 3 lots of corn flour to get it where it's sort of, you know, it's not super thick, but it's not super runny either. You can go way thicker than that if you want, but I want to mainly use this bit for glugging, so I want it to go in fairly easy. But be prepared, that's the bit that's going to take you the longest amount of time, guys. Also, a little tip, if you're making hook baits and all, sometimes it's a good idea to sieve your mix. Same things with the corn flour, guys. If you're making this, it makes it much easier to blend it all in if you sieve it. Takes a bit more time, but if you can be bothered, it will save you a bit of time in the mixing, because the mixing is what takes a lot of time, guys. Okay, so now all I need to do is, that is completed, is transfer it to a bottle. So for that, I kind of have one of these little nozzles and a bottle, just to make it a little bit easier. So I'll transfer that over, guys, and then I'll show you how it looks. After you've, give it a bit of a shake, after you've managed to get it into your bottle, that's what you're left with. Some nice goo, PVA friendly, can use in your PVA bags, can use in your hook baits, use in your spod mix, any way you like, guys, but probably 1/4 of the cost of what Korda Goo would be. I mean, some ideas of flavourings, you know, you might not want to put a liquid flavouring. You could put orange zest in and then put it through a sieve afterwards. That gives you a really lovely citrus goo. You don't also have to put the Fluorescein. You might not want to use that at all. So it's up to you, guys. Possibilities are endless. Alright, guys, well, obviously it's not going to be much of a video if I don't show you what it's like. So the container had some left over. I've put it on a orange boilie, just so you know any yellow coming off isn't from the boilie. Probably should have weighted that, guys, shouldn't I? But I'm pretty sure it's pretty clear. There's a lovely green cloud coming off of that, guys. And that's obviously just been soaking for a couple minutes whilst I've wiped the tops down, cleaned the utensils. So I mean, there's actually quite a lot of plume coming off that, guys, but that's what you can expect. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done already. And if you like this sort of thing, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to be notified of future posts, which will include more with regards to bait making, then please hit that bell icon, guys. Yesterday you would have seen a pop-up that was in the goo for about 2 minutes. I've just soaked some overnight and put it in a solid PVA bag just so you can get an idea of what it's like. This is the presentation I choose to use pretty much 90% of the time. So let's have a little look. I might need to speed it up. Obviously it's a solid PVA bag, so it's going to take a bit of time to break down, guys, but just let you see what the goo is like. As you can see, there is a bit of green starting to come off already. Not all the PVA bag has melted yet, guys, but I'll tell you what, that's given off a lot of attraction, a lot of colour. I've got to be honest, I'd be really happy with that, guys. So obviously that's not totally broken down yet, guys, but that I'd be really happy with. Look at that lovely presentation. Lot of goo coming off. That's what it looks like from above, guys. So as you can see, that's only a small little PVA bag, but that's a lovely mouthful for a fish. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and there will be more bait making tutorials coming to the channel, so please remember, subscribe, hit the like if you enjoy this sort of thing, and hit that bell icon to be notified. Only leaves me to stay safe, stay fishing.